But first, another Cinderella story. Here's Dana.
Thanks, Jay. You never underestimate momentum this time of year. Just ask the VCU Rams, 4th in the Colonial Athletic Association, but runners-up in the conference tournament. VCU earned an at-large bid to the big dance. Now they've earned some respect, beating USC, Georgetown, and Purdue on their way to their first ever Sweet 16 appearance. By the way, they didn't just beat those teams, they did it in 5 days and pummeled them, topping the Trojans by 13, Hoyas and Boilermakers by 18. Head coach Shaka, one of the younger generation of college coaches at just 33, joins us now on First Take. Coach, take me back a few weeks pre-tournament. Your team had gone 3-5 in February. Your tourney hopes were bleak. Out comes a calendar and I believe a lighter to practice. What happened?
Well, when we hit March 1st, we knew that we'd had a rough month of February, so I decided to burn the month of February. I pulled the month out of the calendar, and in front of the team at our practice gym, took a little waste paper basket out and burned the calendar and dropped it into the trash can as it was burning. So the guys could kind of see that, hey, this month is over, and we have new life here with the conference tournament and the postseason. And they've taken full advantage of it.
I was going to say, I don't know if you can take full credit for it, but how much of an impact do you think that moment had on them and their change in play from that point on?
A little bit. I don't want to make too much of it. It was just symbolic of the fact that the regular season was over and we got a new opportunity with the conference tournament. And everybody has talked about these 3 games over the last week in the NCAA tournament, but we really played well in our conference tournament to set this up.
When you did get that bid and you saw that you were one of the first 4 and had to play USC up first, what did you say to your guys about that at-large bid? Especially when you listened to the TV, there were certainly some doubters out there about whether or not you should be there.
Well, because of what was said on TV, I didn't have to say much. And to be honest with you, I just sat back and smiled as those guys were making the comments they made, because knowing our group, we have a very competitive group. We have a lot of guys that love it when people doubt them and people question them and they respond to that type of situation. So it really set up perfectly for us, Dana.
Would that be why you were shooting 57% yesterday, 66% in the first half against this Purdue defense?
Well, I think just because our guys are playing with a lot of confidence right now, our style of play is predicated on playing loose, attacking basketball. We don't hold our guys back. We want them to go play their games. And there's not a lot of situations where we tell them not to take a shot. So when you get to this time of year, you want your guys playing confidently, and we're fortunate that that's what we're doing.
It was interesting. Buzz Williams a little earlier said that the most important thing to him was that his team was the toughest team out there. Didn't matter if they were the best, didn't matter if he was the best coach. For you, what is the most important thing that your team is when they're out there playing?
I'd say the most aggressive team. We have to make sure we're attacking on both ends of the floor. The way we play, we call it havoc, and we want to always be up-tempo. We want to be attacking. If we're on our heels, we're not very good. But if we're going at the other team on both ends of the floor, we can be very good.
There's no rest for you. Florida State up next, another double-digit seed that is still dancing right now. The biggest challenge that at least right now you know they'll present for you, what would that be?
I'd say their length and athleticism. They've got terrific players on the front court, and then they've got a very veteran backcourt that will make good decisions and make good plays. But, to be honest with you, Dana, this game, as these past 3 have been, is much more about us for our team and playing the right way, playing together, playing with a great deal of confidence. And our guys have been loose through this whole tournament. There hasn't been any anxiety. There hasn't been any pressure. We know what we need to do, and our guys are confident we can do it.
Yeah, how much fun has it been for you guys this week?
It's been a lot of fun, and not just the games, the trips and the shoot-arounds and the meetings and everything in the hotel, our fans being a part of it. This is phenomenal for everybody at VCU, not just within our program, but everyone that supports us. And our guys are soaking it up. They're enjoying it. They know that it's a moment that, regardless of whether we win or lose, isn't going to last very long. So they're making the most of it.
Well, Coach, congratulations on where you've gotten so far. Good luck moving along further with that next game up against Florida State. We appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me on, Dana.
Our pleasure. And that game will be in San Antonio, by the way, a 9:57 Eastern tip on Friday night. Right now, we send it back over to First and 10.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. And Andy made a great point while we're listening to the interview. The city of Richmond has as many teams in the Sweet 16 as the Big East. Two.
Unbelievable.
It is. It really is unbelievable. And we're going to talk about the Big East and whether or not they were overrated. We're going to do that. We're going to move that to second down. Right now, I think we have to do VCU. A lot of heat was on the committee when VCU got their bid. How did this team get in? How did this team get in? Now, you look what they've done. They've had convincing wins over Georgetown and Purdue. Does this validate, does this justify their tournament bid?
And before that, USC in the second half. I mean, they just pulled away from them. Of course it does. And first of all, I will say this. I covered that game in the NIT season tip-off in November when they beat UCLA. And you could see then. And so I do agree with the selection committee when they took a subjective point of view where they said, if you watch this team, they look like an NCAA team. They're well coached. Now, the thing that's hard to explain is the fact that they stumbled at times in the Colonial. That's what's hard to explain. Out of conference, they certainly looked like an NCAA tournament team. I think there was too much made of the selection of VCU. You could argue a little bit UAB, but on Selection Sunday, there wasn't as much of a debate about seeding. That was the bigger issue here.
It was.
Like Texas, even though they lost, shouldn't have been a 4. Okay? You know, Richmond, you could argue, beat Purdue, won the A-10 tournament, shouldn't have been a 12. One of the teams from the city of Richmond. Seeding was a bigger deal, not selection here. VCU certainly, I think, should have been in based on, you know, the other characters that were trying to get in. Virginia Tech, that, you know, lost to BC, lost to Clemson. They were all flawed. All those other teams that are whining after the fact, they had nothing to whine about. VCU at least beat a team like UCLA, played a strong schedule, played in what now is looking like a very
that's
good
a good
conference
point.
in the Colonial with George Mason and ODU.
Sure. And
it was a little deeper than that. I had no problem with their inclusion, and now they're just wiping away the competition. First time ever, by the way, a team has won 3 games in the course of a week like they did this week.
I am in awe of what VCU has done. 3 straight games. But I stand right by what I said. VCU did not deserve to get a bid over Colorado. Colorado's resume was better than VCU's. And what I liked about UAB, they won their conference, their regular season conference. What I did not like about VCU is they lost 4 of their last 5 conference games. And they did lose to Old Dominion in the conference final. One of those 4 out of 5 losses was at home to George Mason by 20 points. Now, they reversed that in the conference tournament. It's just not good enough, Andy. You cannot rewrite history. You have to make your selections based on time, right now, right here, right now. Are they good enough to be in the tournament?
You've always been a give me the best 64, 5, 8.
I did not think they were better than Colorado.
But at this point now, you have to at least agree, yep, they got it right. They are one of the best 68.
The full season means nothing because Colorado did nothing in the non-conference. 0.
Okay, all right, but they had this team had one really good win against UCLA, and it had some bad losses, and I can't remember all of them, but there are some bad non-conference losses. No?
Well, I think at this point, though, you can nitpick anybody's resume. At that point,
you have to nitpick.
Last at-large
back of those
you can nitpick anything.
Okay, well, let's nitpick. Colorado's beaten Kansas State 3 times and beaten Texas and beaten Missouri and beaten Oklahoma State.
Right.
And I can go on and on. Those were really good teams they beat, and they got hot late. They deserve to be.
Will you give them this? Because you're always big on, I don't care about RPI, I don't care about any of that, just give me the best teams. Will you at least acknowledge that they are one of the best 68 teams in the country?
You know what I think of this flawed format? It's okay. Do you know what I think of this flawed format? It is roulette. It is single game elimination. Anything can happen, and usually does. Madness ensues, okay? This team has been propelled by all the criticism it received via ESPN, Coach Smart admits
other teams got that criticism and it
not
didn't
like
help them.
this. These guys
UAB
got bombarded.
UAB got it too.
All right, but they got hot, and anything can happen in this tournament. It proves nothing to me.
They're not one of the best 68 teams.
I would put Colorado in over both those teams.
Bottom line is they have earned the Sweet 16 maybe more so than any other team by beating USC.
Yeah, you can't argue with their
Purdue.
You can't
3 high majors. They earned their ticket.
Yeah. They're dancing. Skip hates it. All right, that's it for first down. When we come back to the debate desk for second down, we're getting to the Big East. They get 11 bids. 9 of them are home. 2 are still dancing. Is the conference overrated? Did they deserve all of those bids? That'll be a hot debate in second down. Right now, here's Dana with what else we're working on for today's show.